The radical breakaway breaks the stereotype of what a solid symmetrical ball can be. Hey team, and welcome back to the channel. My name is Brian, core design engineer with Brunswick Bowling, and today we're taking a closer look at the radical breakaway core, and we're seeing how that ball stacks up relative to the rest of the balls on the radical comparison chart for January. But before we get into all that, I have a quick PSA. I did a new video series on the Troublemaker Pearl, and more specifically, the dualistic core, which is the first and only core designed specifically with two-handed or no-thumb bowlers in mind. The first two videos in that series detail all the information about the shape and design of that core and the reasons that it's designed the way it is and how it benefits two-handed bowlers. And the most important video, the third video, gets into a bunch of detail about the layout converter that was built for that ball, and I'm going to let you in on a special secret. That layout converter, found on Deviate Bowling's Troublemaker landing page, can be used for all bowling balls, not just the Troublemaker. All the trends that the Troublemaker uses for layouts in terms of making the ball stronger or weaker applies to all bowling balls. Now, of course, the Troublemaker is going to give you the added benefit of a wider range of post-drilled numbers for no-thumb bowling, but that layout converter and the dot to center of grip distance guide can be applied to any bowling ball. Make sure you check out that video, the third video in the Troublemaker series that I produced. That's going to give you all the detail about where to find the converter, the dot to center of grip distance guide, and how to apply both of those to apply the most easy and most well-rounded layouts for no-thumb bowlers to any symmetrical or asymmetrical bowling ball. Now, of course, this is a radical video, so we have to get into all the detail about the radical breakaway, starting where we always start, with the core. This core should be very familiar to radical fans. This is the exact same core that was used in the original Payback. It's a 2528 RG with an 041 total differential. That's a relatively high side of medium on the RG range. That's going to be a little later revving core. And that's an 041 total differential, which makes it a moderately flaring, but moderately high flaring symmetrical bowling ball. Of course, this has a mid-band in it, and it's got a knob on it. The knob on top is used to maintain the post-drilled differential. Once you drill your fingers into it in a standard pin-up or pin-down layout, you typically miss that knob. Because that knob is adding height to the core, that means after drilling, because that knob is still in the core, it's going to maintain a higher differential because the core is relatively taller. And this band that you see in the ball should be very familiar as well. A lot of radical symmetrical balls, including the previous Pandemonium series and even more famously the Bonus series, make this core design very familiar to you. This band is built so that when you drill a standard pin-up layout, you hit more of that inner core material, removing more of it, making it relatively taller and blowing up the diffs higher. This core is a direct descendant of the radical Bonus series, which is arguably one of the most famous symmetrical balls to the radical fans. Despite sharing the same core with the Payback, this ball is practically on a whole nother level. The solid HK22 Plus cover stock with the HK22 cover base, in conjunction with the shiny finish, which is relatively rare for a solid ball, gives this ball a lot more push through the front of the lane and an incredibly hard arcing response on the back of the lane. This ball covers a lot more boards than the Payback, which used a much older technology cover, but was also sanded smoothly to blend the lane front to back and left to right. Where the Payback is a great control option with medium flaring and medium response to friction, the breakaway gets through the heads a lot better with a much more tacky, gluey response to the friction at the back of the lane. This ball is much more receptive to opening up your launch angles and allowing the cover to do all the work on the back of the lane. This is more reminiscent of the Bonus line, namely the Bonus Pearl. However, with the new HK22 cover base and a more flaring core than the Bonus line core, you can see that this ball just simply covers more boards overall. This is a ball that you can open up the lane with when friction is present in the mid lane, but there's still a good amount of head oil in the front part of the lane. Moving over now to our comparison chart, You guys should be very familiar with this chart by now, but just as a quick refresher, this chart is sorted by oil volume on the bottom on the x-axis, with the balls built for the lightest oil conditions on the left side of the chart and the balls built for the heaviest oil conditions on the right side of the chart. They're also sorted by response to friction, with the sharpest responding balls toward the top and the smoothest responding balls toward the bottom of the chart. Our brand new Radical Breakaway is built to handle a medium to medium light amount of total oil volume. It nests neatly between a couple of the shiny symmetrical balls that are a little cleaner and sharper than the Breakaway, notably the Crypto Boom and the Deadly Rattler. Despite the fact that this is a solid cover, it has good response to friction for its own right. This ball almost has a hybrid characteristic to it. It gets through the fronts easily because of its compounded finish and stores a lot of energy for the back of the lane to unleash a hard arcing yet not sharp response to friction. This is a beautiful balance between a ball that gets off the back of the lane with enough entry angle to carry very well for a solid symmetrical ball, but not such a hard change of direction that it becomes uncontrollable or too unpredictable in the back of the lane. I think this strikes a really nice balance between mid-lane security and back-end motion for a solid symmetrical ball, especially a mid-diff symmetrical ball, which typically have limitations as far as how much you can open up the lane and how much they want to change direction. But with the Breakaway, our early adapters and our pro staffers are seeing that you can really test the limits of this core with this cover stock combination on it by really getting into the lane, even when there's fresh head oil, and as long as there's good mid-lane friction, this ball is going to get off of it and keep driving. This is a big step up from the payback in terms of change of direction and overall shape that this ball makes, and it's certainly a step up from the bonus series shape as well, but still maintaining that characteristic continuousness and smoothness that bonus line was known for. Relative to a more recent series, such as the Rattler series, this core just flares a bit more overall, which means that it's going to have just a higher total board coverage and a higher hook potential. The shiny finish obviously gives you a more similar motion to the Deadly Rattler, but with the higher flare potential, it just handles more volume overall. It might be a little smoother because it's using a little more energy in the mid lane, but it does not lack for punch at the back of the lane. This is definitely going to be a step up from your Deadly Rattler, and it's going to be a step stronger in shape and change of direction than the original Rattler, which was sanded. This is going to be the more versatile ball to my eye on a wider range of conditions, from medium heavy conditions during breakdown to medium light conditions when the oil is very fresh. This could be your first ball out of your bag if you're slightly rev dominant or very rev dominant, and this is going to be an easy step down from some of the stronger and sharper balls in the lineup, such as the Katana Assault or the Zigzag, for players who are a little more speed dominant or a little more rev challenged, as a second or third option in your bag when the mid lane starts to open up and the oil starts to break down. The Breakaway is sure to add a lot of utility to the middle part of anyone's arsenal. It combines a very user-friendly, later revving but mid-differential symmetrical core with a very impressive and very continuous HK22 Plus solid cover stock that comes shiny, which is a rare find. Make sure you swing into your local pro shop and pick one up. And since you're here, make sure you like and subscribe to my YouTube and Facebook pages. I'm always making new videos for the brands of Brunswick. Feel free to drop a comment below if you have any questions about the core or cover combinations that are on any of these Radical balls in the current lineup, or if you have questions about how any of the new balls fit in your current lineup. Until next time, thanks for watching.